So, the Bible, right? Seems to be a pretty important part of what we're all about. And we hear quite a bit of it, if you think about it. Every Sunday, Old Testament, Psalm, New Testament, Gospel. We actually, and the whole liturgy is derived from Scripture. So we hear more Scripture in our little mainline quiet church than the average evangelical church on a Sunday. So what's it for? What's it good for? The Bible's not really very useful as a history. It's way too biased for that. It's full of commandments, of course. There's a lot of do this and don't do that. But I think you and I would probably agree that being told to do this because I say so doesn't get a lot of traction in really changing your heart and mind. But when it comes to prayer, the Bible, I think, here is really rich as a guide, as a tool of prayer. Now, of course, there are prayers in the Bible, most notably probably the Lord's Prayer. By the way, as I mentioned before, I think there's two versions of that. And because we're listening to the Gospel of Luke in this season, the version of the prayer in the program is the one that Luke has. So pay attention when you get to it. There's prayers in the Bible, but even the whole Bible can be used for prayer. There's this beautiful practice called Lectio Divina. It's a way of praying with Scripture. The way it works is you just take any passage of Scripture and get quiet and settled, and then just start reading the Scripture slowly and without trying to evaluate and think about, what does this mean? What is this saying? Just word by word. And then eventually a word will jump out at you, or a phrase. And you stop, put the Scripture down, and just repeat that word or phrase that jumped out. Again, not trying to evaluate what it must mean or whatever. Just repeating it. And then eventually you'll find it can turn into a prayer. And whatever's in your heart will start to flow out through whatever it was that triggered. You pray that for a while until it feels like it's been said. Then return to quiet. Give God a chance to answer. And then maybe return to the Scripture, or maybe that's enough for now, and let that sink in for a while. So, for example, the letter to the Philippians that we just heard. You might be reading that, brothers and sisters, join. That caught me. Join. Repeat it for a while. And then maybe something arises like, God, I'm actually feeling like a lot of things are disjoint right now. Let's talk about that. Or maybe, that reminds me that I was asked to join the Lions Club. What do you think, God? Is that a good idea? That might lead to all other thoughts about what does it mean to join something. Pray it through. It's very interesting, very powerful. I recommend you try it. But if you really want the most direct prayer in Scripture, it's the Psalms. The Psalms are prayer. And you can pray and read the Psalms just like it's talking to God for you. And you can hear the Psalms like they're God talking to you. And as they draw you in, you can find that the Psalms are really a way of hearing what God has to say to us now. Not what someone else says you're supposed to hear. Really beautiful. I think today's psalm is a nice gateway into prayer. One thing I asked of the Lord, one thing I sought, that I might dwell in the house of the Lord forever, day after day, whatever it was. Now, at first you say, what's this? I'm supposed to pray that I could live in the church? Sleep on the pews? If that would work for you, by the way, we could make an arrangement. I'm sure. But maybe what we're really praying there through the psalm is that we may be where God is, to dwell where God is, moment by moment, to behold the fair beauty of the Lord. Whoa, that's really compelling. There's where the gateway really opens, to behold the fair beauty of the Lord. Now, if your image of God is of some old guy on a throne who likes to frown a lot, fair beauty might not really resonate. So there's an invitation here. What is your ideal of beauty, whatever it may be? Can you imagine God as lovely to behold, as an ideal of beauty? God as eye-catching, as enticing, as something that you want to be near, something that's just a joy to behold. This can start to feel kind of sensual. This is God as a sensual experience. God is pleasing to the senses. Now you know that flies right in the face of lots of traditional Christian teaching. The idea that anything that's of the senses, of the flesh, that's bad. Anything of the spirit, that's good. As if the two were unrelated. That idea, by the way, about all things of the flesh and senses are bad, it comes maybe partly from the letters of Paul, but especially it's an idea that the church has exploited for centuries to assert its own authority. You can't find God or salvation outside of the church. Whatever joy or meaning you find in field or forest or human companionship, don't question the primacy of the church, my child. The devil will come and lead you astray. This has especially been used to oppress women. It's women who are sensual and not capable of reason. They are easy prey for the devil, and, worst of all, most dangerous, despite themselves, they are dangerous seducers. But here in our psalm prayer, it's God who is the seducer, who says, pay attention to this fair beauty, who draws us in. Beauty is the mask of God, lovely and transient, like a lily of the field, as Jesus so beautifully pointed out. Spend whatever you want on clothes and a makeover, says Jesus. You'll never approach the beauty of a wildflower. And even those flowers are just a tease. Jesus, by the way, was not a Puritan. One thing, getting back to our prayer then, one thing that I seek, one thing I ask for. So you've stirred up this longing, God, this longing for I don't know what, for your presence, for your help, your home, your heart. Answer me. Answer me when I call. And at once, the answer comes. You speak in my heart and say, seek my face. Seek my face. Whatever it is that you look at, or look for, or think you have found, look for my face in it, and behind it, radiating through it. We did this workshop once where a small group of people, each of us painted a portrait of another in the group all together. And while we did that, we chanted this bit from the psalm, you speak in my heart and say, seek my face. Your face, Lord, will I seek. So imagine a little group of people, each one looking at someone and being looked at by someone, doing this portrait and saying over and over, your face I will seek, Lord. It's a lot of fun. If you allow yourself to look at someone, not judge, not evaluate, not categorize and label, but just look at someone, what you find is beauty. It's the face of God in, behind, and radiating through. Maybe that's why there's a commandment that prohibits making any images of God. What is one image of that which unfolds infinitely? Maybe if we improved our appreciation for beauty, we as a people, if we deepened our appreciation for beauty, maybe we wouldn't be so quick to destroy the earth. Maybe we wouldn't be so quick to judge. If we could appreciate beauty more deeply, maybe we would eat better and rest more often. Maybe we wouldn't be able to quickly reject the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Maybe with some reverence for beauty, we could talk about what is holy as if we knew what we were talking about. Does that sound too idealistic? Is that too idealistic? Are we not followers of Jesus? What do we praise Jesus for? His realpolitik? Whatever your question, whatever your desire, God answers in your heart. Seek my face. Your face, Lord, will I seek. Amen.